the butcher shop, the owner asked, "Why do you need so much pig blood?" I froze at the counter with my 3rd-gallon jug in hand. I'd been coming here every week for a month, buying quantities that would make anyone suspicious. The owner was an older man with kind eyes who'd never asked questions before, but I suppose everyone has their limits when it comes to curiosity. "It's for a film project," I said, which was technically true in a twisted way. He squinted at me over his glasses. "You're making a horror movie or something?" Something like that. He shrugged and rang me up like he'd heard stranger explanations in his years behind that counter. I drove home with the jug secured in my trunk, my hands tight on the wheel the entire way. The truth was much stranger than any horror movie, and I wasn't sure anyone would believe me if I tried to explain what I was really doing. 6 weeks ago, my younger sister went missing. She'd been living with her boyfriend in a cabin outside of town, completely off-grid, no phone service, no electricity, no neighbors for miles. She said she was finding herself and reconnecting with nature. Our parents thought it was just a phase. Then she stopped showing up to our weekly coffee dates. 2 missed Saturdays in a row without any word wasn't like her at all. I drove out to the cabin expecting to find her sick or just being flaky. Instead, I found it completely empty. No note, no sign of struggle, just abandoned dishes in the sink and her clothes still hanging in the closet. Her boyfriend claimed she'd left him in the middle of the night and he had no idea where she went. He said she'd been acting strange, talking about needing space. The police investigated for 2 weeks before moving on to other cases. Adults are allowed to disappear, the detective told me when I called begging for updates. There's no evidence of foul play, but I knew my sister better than anyone. She wouldn't vanish without telling me. Something was very wrong. I started investigating on my own. I talked to every neighbor within 5 miles of that cabin. Everything pointed back to her boyfriend. The neighbors said they'd heard screaming the week before she disappeared. Not arguing, but screaming. Her best friend told me my sister had been scared of him for months but was too afraid to leave. He'd isolated her from everyone. A woman at the coffee shop said she'd seen my sister with a black eye 2 days before she vanished. When I confronted him with all of this, he smiled. Actually smiled at me. "She's gone," he said, "and you'll never prove anything. The police already cleared me. It's over." I wanted to kill him right there, but I'm smarter than that. Instead, I started planning. The pig blood was phase 1. I'd been studying criminal cases for weeks, learning how killers got caught. I knew his property had never been properly searched because technically my sister had just left voluntarily. I also knew that if someone anonymous tipped police about blood evidence, they'd have to investigate again with fresh eyes. Every night for a month, I crept onto his property after midnight and planted drops of pig blood in strategic locations. In the bed of his truck, on the porch steps, near the shed he always kept locked. I used a syringe to make it look like transfer evidence, the kind that happens when someone moves a body. Then I sent anonymous tips from a burner phone. The police came back with luminol and black lights. They found my planted blood immediately, but luminol doesn't distinguish between pig blood and human blood. It just glows blue. When they tested samples in a lab, they'd eventually know it wasn't human. But by then, they were already searching with new intensity, and they found real evidence I never planted. Under the floorboards of that locked shed, they found jewelry. My sister's necklace with her birthstone, her grandmother's ring that she never took off, things she absolutely never would have left behind willingly. Behind the shed, cadaver dogs hit on disturbed soil. They started digging. I watched from my car as they brought out the forensic team. Yellow tape went up around the property. Her boyfriend was taken away in handcuffs, screaming that someone was framing him. 3 days later, they confirmed the remains were my sister. He'd killed her the night she tried to leave and buried her 20 feet from where they'd slept together. The pig blood was never mentioned in any report. The prosecutor built his case on the real evidence that my fake evidence led them to find. At trial, he kept insisting someone planted blood. The jury didn't believe him. He was guilty. He'd murdered my sister and smiled when he told me I'd never prove it. He was wrong. The butcher asked about the blood last week. Whatever happened with that movie? I smiled. It had a happy ending.